Yesterday is a chapter, not the title of your life story. Yet most of us drag old pages around like iron shackles, regrets, failures, and labels slapped on us by people who never saw our real potential. We quote them until they sound like scripture. I'm terrible with money. I always pick the wrong partner. I'll never be more than average. Why do we repeat these lines? Because the mind prefers a familiar cage over an unknown horizon. Comfort in misery is still comfort, but comfort isn't destiny. Today, we're tearing those pages out. Over the next 10 minutes, you'll discover why your brain is built for reinvention, master frameworks that rewrite the story looping in your head, and map daily micro-actions that transform scars into superpowers. By the end, you won't just think differently, you'll live differently, starting tonight. The myth of a fixed identity society adores permanent records, GPAs, credit scores, criminal histories. Because those numbers exist, we treat them like prophecies carved in granite. Psychologists call this the enduring self fallacy, the belief that who you were at 18 is who you must remain at 80. Biology laughs at that idea. Every 7 years, you replace virtually every cell in your body. Taste buds refresh every 2 weeks. Skin cells turn over monthly. Even the memories you lean on to describe yourself are re-edited each time you recall them. Yet we cling to expired verdicts. Certainty, even painful certainty, feels safer than possibility. I always mess up hurts, but at least it's predictable. The brain loves predictable. It burns fewer calories. That craving for familiarity makes us pre-reject promotions, sabotage relationships, and shrink our dreams. It's like driving with the parking brake on, because at least the car won't roll backward. Once you realize the verdict is just an outdated opinion, you can treat it like paperwork in an unlocked drawer, irrelevant and ready for the shredder. Your brain's built-in reset button. Enter neuroplasticity, the factory-installed reset switch. Whenever you choose a fresh thought or practice a new skill, neurons ignite, synapses strengthen, and myelin insulates those circuits so signals travel faster. Dirt paths become 4-lane highways. London taxi drivers who memorize 25,000 streets literally grow a larger hippocampus. If geography can sculpt gray matter, imagine what deliberate optimism can do. Memory isn't a frozen video. It's a live reconstruction. Each playback edits details through the lens of who you are now. That means, when you revisit a painful moment, you can attach a new caption. Lesson instead of humiliation. Stepping stone instead of tombstone. Repeated reframing literally rewires the emotional code tied to that event. Your past is clay, not concrete, and every new perspective is a sculptor's stroke. Reframe the story. Events are neutral until the brain wraps them in narrative. 2 athletes blow the big game. One says, "I'm a choker." The other says, "Pressure points me toward growth." Same event, opposite futures. Tonight, grab a journal and run this drill. 1-sentence fact, state the event with 0 emotion. Old meaning, note the limiting story you attached. New meaning, start with, "Because of this I can now," and craft a growth-focused frame. Read that new line aloud morning and night. Repeated language grooms neural pathways. Psychologists call this cognitive reappraisal. Soon opportunities that fit the upgraded story, leadership roles, creative gigs, healthy partners, pop into view because your attention filter finally has permission to notice them. It's not magic. It's a neurological inbox rule swapping spam for priority mail. The Phoenix Framework, 4 steps to rise. Acknowledge without judgment. Name the wound plainly. I declared bankruptcy at 28. Denial ties the anchor tighter. Honesty loosens the knot. Extract the lesson. Ask, what did this teach me that smooth sailing never could? Maybe resilience, empathy, or strategic caution, wisdom often paid for in regret. Release the residue. Perform a ritual. Write the old label on paper, burn or shred it, scatter the ashes, exhale. Symbolism speaks to the subconscious louder than logic. Rewrite in present tense. Craft a one-sentence identity like, "I am the disciplined architect of second chances." Speak it daily until it feels like biography, not wishful thinking. Run every lingering regret through these steps. Each cycle turns emotional rust into raw steel, and situations that once crippled you become mile markers proving how far you've climbed. Proof that the past not equal destiny. Need evidence? Oprah Winfrey endured abuse and rural poverty, then built a media empire and funded schools for girls worldwide. Robert Downey Jr. cycled through rehab and jail before Marvel crowned him the face of a billion-dollar franchise. Malala Yousafzai was shot for attending school. She turned that scar into a Nobel Peace Prize platform. Howard Schultz grew up in public housing yet turned Starbucks into a global third place. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and emerged to guide a nation toward reconciliation. Bethany Hamilton lost an arm to a shark at 13 and returned to pro surfing, inspiring millions. Different backstories, identical pattern. Each person treated the past as raw data, not a prison sentence. If circumstances that extreme couldn't freeze their trajectories, your setbacks hold even less authority. The 30-Day Identity Reset Challenge. Ready to turn theory into muscle? Pick one limiting label. Say, "I'm disorganized." Define its opposite habit. "I plan tomorrow the night before." Engineer micro wins. Set a 9 p.m. planning alarm. Prepare a 3-item priority list. Visualize a focused morning. Track visibly. Calendar streaks, habit apps, sticky note chains. Review every Sunday. What sparked success? Where did friction hide? Adjust like a scientist. Hypothesis, experiment, tweak. Guard your streak with the 2-day rule. Miss once if life explodes, but never miss twice. Then reward the process. Celebrate 10 straight days with a sunrise coffee or a new audiobook. 30 deliberate days produce 30 data points that contradict the old label. On day 31, disorganization feels as foreign as wearing someone else's glasses, and the deeper revelation, "I am editable," ripples into every area of life. Momentum, tribe, and environment. Humans sync to tribe norms. Join circles where reinvention is standard, marathon clubs, coding boot camps, mastermind cohorts. A 2020 study found goal success soared to 95% when progress was reported in scheduled check-ins. Choose allies who challenge any sentence beginning with, "That's just how I am." Environment whispers stories too. A cluttered desk echoes a chaotic mind. Social feeds recycle yesterday's identity. Curate workspaces, playlists, and digital timelines so they broadcast where you're going, not where you've been. Momentum functions like compound interest. First, you deposit pennies. One resume sent, one workout logged. Keep depositing, and the graph hockey sticks. Broader networks, deeper confidence, bolder risks. When old acquaintances say, "You've changed," smile, that was the plan. Tools to lock in the forward story. Future self-journaling. Each morning, write a diary entry dated 1 year ahead, describing a perfect ordinary day, where you live, what work you do, how you feel at sunrise. This primes the reticular activating system to notice resources that match that vision. Nightly mental rehearsal. Athletes run flawless routines in their minds before sleep. Do the same with your interview, TED-style talk, or first 10K race. MRI scans show the motor cortex lights up almost identically in imagination and action, laying rehearsal tracks you can sprint on come game day. Language upgrades. Ban identity-cementing phrases like, "I'm bad with tech." Replace them with process language. "I'm learning new software skills." The subconscious takes grammar literally. Speak to it like a coach, not a critic. Environmental cues. Swap the desktop wallpaper that reminds you of college stress for one showing the mountain you'll climb. Place the guitar on a stand in the living room instead of boxed in a closet. When your surroundings sing the new story on loop, relapse into the old chorus, feels off-key. Consistency with these tools relies less on willpower and more on design. When cues, language, and visuals all preach the same future, effort drops and default behavior drifts toward that vision. Guardrails for the mind when motivation wanes and the past tries a comeback. The rear view mirror test. A windshield is 50 times larger than a rear view mirror for good reason. Forward vision deserves infinitely more space than backward glances. Peek at the past only long enough to avoid repeats, then refocus on the road ahead. Mile by mile, today's deliberate choices repaint tomorrow's scenery until yesterday shrinks to a speck on the horizon. Remember, the story strangers will tell about you 5 years from now hasn't been written. It will be drafted in quiet dawns when you practice a new language, in bold evenings when you apply for the role you once felt unqualified to chase, and in firm boundaries where the old you would have folded. You are the author, the editor, and, starting tonight, the publisher of every future edition. Ink your narrative boldly. The world is waiting for the next chapter, ready to shred the outdated script and launch a future that excites you. Type "new chapter" in the comments, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and share this video with one friend who's still letting yesterday decide today. Then close this tab. Choose the smallest step aligning with future you and take it before the next hour ends. Your past may describe you, but only your next action can define you. So move now.